Hello, welcome to Salt and Light Canning. I'm Jessica and this is my kitchen. Today I'm doing some freezer clean out to make room for the harvest. We started some seed starts this weekend, so I'm just in the garden mode. So cleaning out the freezer to make room for when the harvest comes in. So I am canning chicken. I have about 30 pounds of chicken here, and I'm going to get the cut up and into jars, just because sometimes during the harvest I don't have time to can everything as it comes in, so I got to put it in the freezer until I do have time. But anyway, I'm going to get all this chicken breast cut up and we'll get it seasoned. And today I think I'm gonna do some taco seasoning on it, just because that'll make it easier for me for making meals. I'm all about quick, easy weeknight meals. Whatever makes it easier for me, for my family. Part of that is having ready to go canned chicken on my shelf. Anyway, I'm just going to keep cutting this up and get it seasoned and into jars. So anyway, I'll be back when I'm doing something else. I still want to be able to stir this, so I'm going to set this aside for a second and then get out my seasonings. Here I have some taco seasoning, some garlic powder, some chopped onion. Season your chicken however you like. I need to get this stirred up. You can just do plain chicken if that's what you want to do. I have a lot of plain chicken on the shelf right now, but do whatever you like. You like ranch chicken. There's ranch seasoning that doesn't have any milk in it. Do that. If you like plain chicken, do that. You could even do like a barbecue seasoning and add that to your chicken. Or if you mix up a seasoning blend that you just really love, do that on your chicken. It depends on why you can chicken. I can chicken to have shelf-stable food, also to have easy, quick meals on my pantry shelf. So for me, having plain chicken is great. I can do lots of things with it, but also having seasoned meat is great, because then I can really just open it up and heat it up and it's ready to go for chicken quesadillas, chicken tacos, anything that I want to make. And it's delicious and wonderful. But I had to get that chicken out of my freezer so I can make space for the harvest I know God's going to give us this year. All right, I have my chicken all seasoned and I'm going to start filling jars. You want to fill to 1.25 inches of headspace. It used to be just 1 inch on the National Center for Home Food Preservation. Now they say it's 1.25 inches. I'm going to add liquid to my jars anyway. I did just want to talk for a minute too. With all the craziness in the world, I want to remind you, don't be afraid. And you cannot prepare for every situation out there. It's just not possible. I mean, you can do your best and you can be as prepared as you can, but nobody can be prepared for everything, right? That's where faith comes in. I remember a few years ago, I was watching somebody and they're trying to store like 25 years or something worth of food in your house. And quite frankly, for me, that's just really unrealistic. It's not something I can do. Food's got an expiration for a reason. You're supposed to eat it and grow more and prepare more food. So 25 years worth of food in my house right now at any given time is not realistic. But I can have the knowledge and the skills and practice in place so that I know that I can provide food for my family for the next 25 years. Just like planting seeds in the garden. I know how to plant food and grow food, and I know how to harvest the seeds from the food I grow. I know how to do that for the area that I live. I understand principles of sowing seed and growing food and planning for next year's harvest. Not just this year, but planning for next year and having it in place. Have the skills and the knowledge to be able to preserve food. I know how to fish. And for the things that I can't do myself, I've created friendships and partnerships with people who do know how to do those things. Like, I don't have space where I live personally to raise beef, but I have a friend who does, and we can work together, and I purchase my beef locally from her. I don't have the space to grow chickens, but I have friends who do, and I partner with them to grow chickens and to raise eggs. And what they don't know how to do, I know how to do. I know how to dehydrate food. I know how to can food. I know how to freeze food. I know how to cook from my pantry, cook from scratch, all the things. So don't be afraid. Do your best to gain knowledge and wisdom. Don't be afraid. God takes care of us. At the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be, and we're just going to be in His hands. I have my seasoned chicken in the jars. Now, this is a part that I do that is not necessarily on the approved canning list, but I'm not going to eat the chicken if it's not covered by some kind of liquid or broth. And I don't end up with enough broth just by raw packing chicken and not adding liquid to where the chicken stays covered in broth. If you want to just do chicken and not add broth, that's fine. That's approved. It's all good. Do you, please? Okay. Me personally, I add broth. If you're uncomfortable with that, don't add broth. Okay. This is just some chicken broth that I made and I canned, and so I'm going to add a little bit. It's not going to take much. I'm going to add a little bit to each of these jars. Debubble really well. And because these are so dirty from you're still going to want to wipe them down, but wipe them down extra because they're dirty from the seasoning. Make sure it gets really clean. I'm just using white vinegar. If you just want to use water, lots of people just use water. I use white vinegar. Grab a lid and a ring. And just a fingertip tight. I'm using all button top lids today. If you want to use just reusable lids, please do that. And if you would like to buy reusable lids or pretty much anything that you see me can with today, check out the link below. It's to my Amazon store. There I will have the reusable lids that I use, all of my canning tools, and even the knives that I used today, which were from Rita. Anyway, just gonna keep filling jars and putting on the lids. Now we'll get them in the canner. What are you canning? Or are you planning to do a garden this year? You'll have to let me know in the comments. All right, my canners are all full. I have 29 jars, 29 pints of taco chicken. and we're gonna get these started. So the water in my canner is cold because my chicken and my chicken broth, everything else was cold. You really want to match the temperature of whatever you're putting in your canner. So if the stuff in your jar is cold, then use cold water. If the stuff in your jar is hot, then use hot water. Is to keep the jars from cracking and breaking and all that stuff. So we're going to get these turned on, and we're going to get the lids on. We're going to let this come up to temperature, and once it starts venting, that's a steady stream of steam out of right here, we will time for 10 minutes because that's the instructions for my canner. Please read the instructions for your canner. It might be different. Once it's vented for 10 minutes, I'll put the weights on and I'll bring it up to 15 pounds of pressure. For my altitude, I have to process at 15 pounds of pressure. Please check your altitude. It might be different. So we will process these at 15 pounds of pressure for 75 minutes because it's meat, it's in pints, it's 75 minutes. I'll be back when I'm taking them out of the canner. Well, thank you to my wonderful husband, Michael, for taking these out for me. I really appreciate it. They're just bubbling and doing their thing. Looks like everybody is already sealed, so that's a blessing. But I want to encourage you. Look at what you have. Maybe make some space in your freezer. If you haven't tried to garden before, see what you can do, even if it's just in some pots on your porch. Just learn new skills, gain knowledge, gain wisdom, and don't be afraid, okay? With our changing world and everything, don't be afraid. Trust the Lord. Be so blessed. Know that you're loved, and be a blessing to someone else. We'll see you in the next video.